Hi everyone, this is Mrs. Torigno again, and I am back with the second page of the Geometry C semester exam review. So this video will cover questions 6 through 10, the second page from your review packet. Okay, when I look at question number 6, I want you to notice this 18 down here actually represents the total distance from A all the way out to C. And then this 12 represents the distance from B to C. I am asked to find the measure of AB, which is this one over here. Okay? One of the very first things we learned this year is that if I'm looking at an entire length, that I can add up the pieces and that will give me the total distance. So really, I know that if I put these two segments together, they have to equal that 18. Well, I know this much of it is 12. So really what I'm asking myself is, 12 plus what would give me 18? The formal way to write that out would be to say 12 plus x equals 18, and then subtract 12 from each side. And you would end up with x equal to 6. Now, probably many of you are able to do that without writing out a formal equation. Lots of you would look at this and say, okay, 18 is the whole thing, 12 is one piece of it, so to get the other piece I would just have to subtract. And that method's perfectly fine too. But your final answer should be that the length of AB is 6. Okay, let's move on to number 7. Number 7 is very similar, but it uses a lot more algebra. Again, this 18x plus 8 is the distance from x all the way to z. And then it also gives you both of these smaller pieces. So ask yourself, what do you know here? Well, I know that these two smaller pieces have to combine to make that larger piece. And here's how I would write that in an equation. I want you to think about what I just said. I'm going to combine the two smaller pieces to make the larger piece. So here I am combining the two smaller pieces. So there's the first one, combining, which means I'm adding, to the second piece. And that has to equal the larger piece, 18x plus 8. Okay, I'm going to build my wall right down the middle of that equals sign. And over here on the left, I can combine my like terms. So the 8x and 2x will combine to make 10x. And the 11 and the 5 will combine to make 16. And then over here, this will be 18x plus 8. Okay. From here, I would probably start by subtracting 10x from each side. You can't just add together the 10x and the 18x because they're not on the same side of the equals sign. So I need to pick up this 10x and move it to the other side. And to do that, I need to subtract it. Okay, so that's going to leave me with 16 here, and then an 8x here, and then you still have that plus 8 on the end. Okay, now you've got all your x's over here on the right, so now I would focus on getting all your numbers over here on the left. To do that, I'm going to subtract 8 from each side. And I'm going to rewrite this up here, just because I'm running out of room. So here I end up with 16 minus 8 is 8. And then on the other side I still have this 8x. And this plus 8 and minus 8 are going to cancel out for me. From here I just want to divide both sides by that 8. And I end up with x equals 1. Now be careful, because we're not done here. The question doesn't ask what does x equal. It wants the entire length from x to z. Well, I'm given a length from x to z right here. It's 18x plus 8. And now I know what that x is. That x is just a 1. So I'm going to fill that in, and I guess I'll do that back over here. I didn't leave myself very much room over there on the right. So I'm going to take that 1 and plug it in for x. So 18 times 1 plus 8. You could just type that right into a calculator if you needed to, but that'll give you 18 plus 8, which is 26. And that will be your final answer for xz. Now, if you wanted to check your work, which I highly recommend, you could also take that number and plug it in here and find each of these lengths separately. And then once you had those two lengths, add them together, and if you're right, they better add up to 26. Okay? If that doesn't work, then you know you made a mistake someplace. Okay, 8, 9, and 10 are all using this diagram down here. So I'm going to try to focus in on the diagram. This is using the angle addition postulate, which really just says that if you're looking for the measure of a larger angle and it's made up of smaller angles, you can just add the larger angles together. The first question asks for angle MQO. So let's trace that. That's from M to Q and then up to O. And hopefully you can see that that angle includes this 38-degree angle and this 16-degree angle. So to get that total measurement, I'm just going to add those together. 38 plus 16, and that will give me 54 degrees. Double check that. Yep, 54 degrees. Okay. The next question asks for angle NQP. So let's look back at our diagram. From N to Q to P, this time that will encompass these two angles, the 16 and the 36. So that means to get my final answer, all I really need to do is add together 16 plus 36. And let's see, that's 52 degrees for that angle. Okay. The last question is asking about angle MQP. That's the entire thing. Here's from M to Q. Whoops, here's your diagram. From M to Q and then up to P. That's including all three of these together. So let's add up all three of those. I have a 38 plus a 16 plus a 36. Okay, let's see. 38 plus 16, we already said was 54. And then when I add 36, that should give me 90 degrees exactly. So I just determined that that's actually a right angle there. Okay. That does it for page 2, which was all about the segment addition postulate and the angle addition postulate. Stay tuned for page 3.